Aloha, folks, and welcome back to Degree Free. We are your hosts, Ryan and Hana Maruyama. On this podcast, we share the fundamentals we've discovered and the mistakes we've made while self-educating, getting work, building businesses, and making money. We'll tell you how to make it happen. No degree needed.
Hey, everybody. We are super happy to have you back on the podcast again this week. And we send out a short newsletter once a week. I promise you want to get this newsletter. It has all sorts of degree-free news, resources, job tips, career ideas, stuff that you are definitely going to want to see and probably send to people that you know who are in the same boat. So if you want to get that, go on over to degreefree.co/sign up and you will get it for free once a week.
Right on. And let's get into today's episode. Today, we are going to be talking about the top 5 U.S. cities for job growth.
This is kind of an interesting one because it's been a wild few years.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think a good place to start with this is, why are we talking about this? For what reason?
That's a good question. And I mean, the reason why we're talking about this is because, a lot of people, with the job market being what it is, they're finding it hard to find jobs. And there might not be jobs in your area. And so it might be beneficial, depending on what industry you're in, and depending on what you want to do, to think about moving to someplace where there are jobs. Mm-hmm. And so what's on a smaller scale, like when I was in my early 20s, like I was a busser at a restaurant. Like I cleaned up the dishes on people's tables, and then I took it to the back to the dish pit, and the dishwasher washed them. And it was like closing time. I don't know. It was like 12. The restaurant was closing, but not the bar. And the dishwasher was rushing to get out of there because he had to catch a bus home. And I was just like, I guess the last bus home.
Oh, late then.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, where do you live? And he's just like, oh, I live in this part of town that's like an hour away or an hour and a half, but that was by car.
Oh,
yeah.
It's on the bus. It's like 2.5 hours.
Yeah. It's like 2.5. Well, that's one way. Yeah. Like 2.5 hours one way. And I was just like, whoa, you live all the way out there and you work over here. Like, what are you doing? Like, why don't you just find a job over there? Like, and you're a dishwasher. Like, why don't you just find a job over there? And that was like a super ignorant.
Yeah.
It's like I mean, I didn't mean it in that way, but I didn't know. I was ignorant. You know what I mean?
You're young.
I was young. I just didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then so he looked at me, and he's younger than I am, maybe by like a year or so. And he looks at me, he's like, dude, I got to go where the work is. And
it's a good mentality to have.
Yeah.
Realistic.
And I remember hearing that, and I was just like, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, so this guy is willing to and has to, or feels like he has to, jump on the bus, take that thing for 2.5 hours one way, and then 2.5 hours the other way for an 8-hour shift.
Oh, that's a long day.
Right, exactly. But the lesson still stands for me, right? You have to go where the work is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you want to make a certain wage or you want a certain type of job. Yeah, absolutely. And keeping that mentality maybe can help people if they're starting to feel like they're stuck and they can't get a job in the field that they want to work in.
Yeah, exactly. And looking for jobs in other areas, just like how this kid did, it really opens up the job market, or at least it can. It can. The biggest pushback that we kind of get here is, I can't just leave. I can't just move, right?
Yep.
That may or may not be true. I'm not sure. But a lot of these people at the same time,
they would move for college.
Right. At one point in their life, and for most of the people that we speak to, it's that moment in time was only a couple of years ago, if that, maybe a few months.
Mm-hmm.
And when they were looking at college, they were thinking about moving halfway across the country or all the way across the country.
Mm-hmm.
And now, because you're thinking about moving for a job instead of college, you can't move.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is that you don't go into debt in order to move to get a job.
Mhm.
I mean, maybe you go into a little bit of consumer debt. I mean, don't save up money first, but maybe you do, which is not good. Don't do that.
Yeah, that's a little iffy. That's not a financial advisor.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's not financial advice, but seems like that's prudent.
Yes, there you go. Okay, so this episode is going to have a lot of numbers, stats, names of cities, and stuff like that. It's supposed to serve as a primer for you it's just to kind of give you an idea of places you could go, but it's also to start you down the path of your own research so that you can start thinking a little bit more dynamically about how to get the type of job or the type of work that you want, or how you can get into a certain industry or field that you'd like to work in. So, it's just a good starting point.
Yeah, definitely. And there's definitely way more to consider than
job growth.
Yeah, than just job growth. So the stats that we're going to be talking about today come from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. And there's actually 2 lists of metropolitan areas, and we'll get into them. But this data set is from January 2021 to January 2022. And that's the most recent data that we have so far. And so the 2 lists that they have is, one is going to be all metropolitan areas, and we're going to get into that a little bit more. But the other one is going to be metropolitan areas that had 1 million plus people in the census that was dated 2010. And it's like not exciting.
I'm just going to list these real quick because it's going to surprise no one. And they're the major cities of the country. It's going to be, greater New York City, greater LA, greater Dallas, greater Chicago, and then greater San Francisco.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, shocker.
Yeah, that doesn't shock anybody. No. So now if you want to get jobs in big cities, there's a lot of job growth in big cities.
As of the census, because of 2010.
Well, with people that...
Right.
Yeah. So that being said, there is another list that goes over all metropolitan areas from January 2021 to January 2020. And it's similar, but not really. And so the first place is going to be the Los Angeles, Long Beach, Anaheim, California area. And that has just over 460,000 jobs created in the past year. And I'll kind of just go down at least I'll read the list off and we can talk about it. But it's going to be San Diego, Carlsbad, California, once again, Southern California, 120 something thousand. Las Vegas, Henderson, Paradise, Nevada, 120 plus thousand jobs there. Orlando, I'm not going to say this right. I'm going to butcher this. Kissimmee. Sanford, Florida, 110,000 plus. And then Austin, Round Rock, Texas. So those are the top 5 by metropolitan areas for 2021 to 2022. What I found interesting about that list is that because it was from that time period, it seems to me that, what this data set lacks is
context.
Exactly.
It lacks industry.
And what those jobs are.
And when we looked at this list, what we suspect is that these are largely service, restaurant, probably industry jobs.
Yeah, maybe restaurant. I'm not sure, but service for sure. I mean, Anaheim has California. Anaheim has Disneyland. Orlando has Disney World.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Vegas has Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas has Vegas, and San Diego. Those are all industry towns, right? And so, and largely, at least the top 3, LA, San Diego, Las Vegas, those were all hit pretty hard by COVID restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
So
they were shut down a long time.
Right, exactly. So this could be the opening up of it. At least that's what we think.
And it's getting caught up in these stats.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
the rehiring.
This is exactly what we talked about with, don't use this list as like, oh, okay, well, just, move to San Diego or, I'll move to Austin or whatever. Because it's getting bigger. Right. It might not be in the industry that you want. But this is just interesting to use as a jumping off point for your research.
There's a pretty big jump between that LA, Long Beach, Anaheim, and San Diego. That's a pretty large gap. You know, that's pretty huge.
Yeah.
It's like almost 500,000 to down to 100, 125,000 ish.
And we'll put links to everything, to all these different lists and statistics in the show notes. Degreefree.co. You can find all this, or if you're on YouTube, it'll be down below. And so the next set of 5 cities that we're going to be talking about was compiled by moneygeek.com. And this one, we put it second because the data is a little older. This is from May 2021. So I believe it's measuring from the year May 2020 to May 2021.
That's a rocky time.
Right. And so they also put within their rankings, they weighted different things. So they weighted hourly wage growth in the last 12 months, and growth in the last 36 months. And they went into the whole methodology in their article, and we'll link to that in the show notes. But with all of that combined, the 5 top cities were completely different, and it kind of just, like, geographically, they're very different, and it might highlight the difference in time, right? From January 2021 to January 2022, and from May 2020 to May 2021.
Independently, I happen to know that some of these places are places that people who were working remotely, there's some overlap in places that they moved to and bought homes as well.
Yeah, and like I said, it's just such a different spread of cities than the last one that we read, right? It was all Southern California, Nevada, Florida, and Texas, right? Whereas this one is all over the place.
Yeah, so this one's got Salt Lake City, Birmingham, Alabama, Jacksonville, Florida, Indianapolis, Carmel, and Anderson, Indiana, and then Nashville, Davidson, and Murfreesboro, Tennessee. But yeah, there's no overlap between this list and the other one. These are super different spreads, right? Compared to those giant metropolitan cities. And it's interesting because it was, a year prior.
I mean, these are all cities too.
Yeah, but it's different though. It's different. People move to cities.
Right.
So, but it's just different how there's no overlap.
Right. But yeah, these are cities too. But the difference is that I think it has to do with the COVID restrictions, right? I mean, these are the cities and states that opened up a little bit earlier.
Yeah. And they also have a lot lower cost of living.
Right. And there's nothing to be said. I'm not commenting on whether or not good or bad restrictions. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just looking at these 2 lists from different times and comparing and contrasting.
Mm-hmm. Right? Just the general, the growth.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, that pretty much sums it up, right? I mean, within the past year that we've seen a lot of California, Florida, Nevada, Texas opening up and increasing job growth, right? But if we go back a little bit further, we see places Utah, Alabama, Florida, Indiana, Tennessee.
Places you don't hear of as much.
Right. Those places had bigger job growth and hourly wage growth as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so take this for what it is, which is just more information, right? I mean, it's like we said, it's just a jumping off point for you to start thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. And if you're looking for, a job and you're wondering what to do, this just might spark something in you to go and look and see if there's somewhere you might want to move in order to get work.
Yeah. And, under the right circumstances, especially if you find that you can't find a job where you are, or you're having a really hard time finding a job, moving to a place with more opportunity is something that could really help your career.
Going where the work is.
Right. Taking a page out of that dishwasher that was like 2 years younger than me, right? Giving me life lessons in the dish pit,
Yep.
right? Going where the work is. And that's important, right? And at least being willing to. Now you have a list of places to look into at least.
Yeah. This is a good place to start.
Yeah, definitely. All right. And that's pretty much it for today, guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you guys like this episode, please like and subscribe. If you guys would like to support the podcast and what we do, the best thing that you can do is leave us an honest review anywhere you get your podcast. That would really be helpful. Thank you very much.
And if you want to get more helpful job, career ideas, resources, and degree-free news, you're going to want to run over to degreefree.co/signup and grab our newsletter. It comes out once a week and you do not want to miss it.
All right, guys. Until next time. Aloha.